The thing is that I want to summarize that the whole thing, we dismiss it on the basis of being ill-intended propaganda and, and disinformation. Disinformation is a scientific word, by the way. To disinform is to misdirect and divert the attention of many people, divert the information. And that's what happened. We are not bad. We are not against anybody. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sister Pop and Comrade Allen. Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou, greeting, Happy New Year. I have a question that I want to ask you. This morning, I was listening to Dr. Peter Yabach. He was in the clubhouse this morning, talk about the issues going on in South Sudan, politics and ethnics. One of the reasons that my question to you, he said that the reason Peter Nyabak said that he was asked the issue of JCE, and the question he was asked about why they are against JCE, and his answer is that they are attacking JCE because they are substitute to SPLM. So, Uncle, do JCE substitute to SPLM? Thank you.
JCE is an outsider. And JCE can be equated organization with barrier organization, with Nuer organization, and others, community-based organizations, besides civil societies and so on. Why should it be SPLM? You can read between the lines that the whole scenario and the whole promotion of movement is against Denga. So they don't want to hear the name Denga, and I don't know why. What brought sensitivity of this name? And there is no sensitivity about law. What justification is that? So I can say that I can dismiss that as selfish, because if a similar organization can be found anywhere in other communities, why not the nationality called Denka? What is wrong with it? And why should the name be sensitive? This one is not qualified, and I know someone to qualify this one by definition. Why? Why is this name? What has it done? What have we done? You see? It is not a simple thing. It is a hatred. A hatred that may actually bring South Sudan down. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it, because why should you live at large? Very dangerous organizations. You see? Thomas Rilo now is saying that his bullet should fall on Denka or Nuer. Why? Why is that? Why should actually a politician who would want to liberate his own people, if it is a matter of liberation, the liberation issue and philosophy is based on what actually has been done by that administration, whether it is colonizer or domination. You have to name this thing. But you cannot simply collectively target the whole community without exception. That what is called what? It is a bad intention. And if such people are allowed to govern South Sudan will not stand. So I dismiss this one as a wrong statement to my friend Adok. I respect him because I thought he was outside the whole community and all that. He's actually outside the low community, I know. Because Adok is a socialist. Come up and say this. simply to strengthen disinformation and propaganda, I dismiss it. Okay? Is that good? Hello?
Okay. Akwan, Madid is here, is gonna help you with some questionnaire to rest of the follow. Okay. Now, go ahead, Madid. And we got Paul here is opposition. And before we go to Wal and Wilson, we have this guy down here. I think, please, guys, if you want to say your name, and tell us, are you a member of Asylum or no? And where do you live? That's the question. Don't forget to ask those questions. Lana na hakumbi zihina na give a nice opposition therefore. Thank you.
Okay, comrade. I put the that file.
Hello?
That file is put the.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. This is Paul Mator Manyok, the chairman of South Sudan Republican Party, and also South Sudan presidential candidate. Others actually saying hopeful. I honor the room, and I want to acknowledge the presence and the input that have been put by Uncle Aldo Ajou. Thank you for clarifying some of the questions that were put forward by your fellow South Sudanese and by your sons and daughters. You actually made it clear that you joined SPLM in 1994. That is over 20-something years. And also, when South Sudan was separated from North Sudan, there are also some people that have joined SPLM based on the ideology that SPLM happened. So when separation was induced or introduced, the intent was, we have to come together somehow, wherever the person is, whether you are from North, South, East. That was the intent, and there were some who were very, very close to the government in Khartoum. They have experience. They have top shelf experience. So I believe it's not SPLM expectation to bring somebody that was very close to the government and put him far from the government. It may not work. Actually, for people to my background in peace, what brings peace is inclusion rather than exclusion. I have various roles. Besides being opposition, Ana Abuna, and Abuna in several other languages, a father. So my father role kick in when every time. So I maintain that. So there are a lot that are happening. There are quite a few that I hear, but I'm not going to talk covering a lot of things. Something happened back in the days. Somebody was given real good food, like what is known as gourmet. And God was behind. God came running and stepped into the food. And somebody that had food actually get hold of the God's food and lick God's food and said something. A lot of things are happening in which, as South Sudanese, let him. And I took you a thing at all. If they are there, things that are not right, it's our responsibility to pray and ask God for forgiveness.
Yeah.
As somebody in opposition, whom I've read Isaiah 18, a lot have been described, and as a punishment for South Sudanese or for Kush.
Correct.
Whatever that happened, it was meant to happen. And God was not going to send his son to do it for us. He has to use one of us, one way or another, in any of the three regions. So I would ask all of us to forgive ourselves and open a new chapter.
Correct.
Uncle Aldo Ajou, you have associated yourself with SPLM. All the sins that have been committed by SPLM will be associated with you somehow. And good things that have been done by SPLM also will be associated with you as well. But you still have your title as another title, the title of elder. It is similar with the title of Abuna.
Correct.
That's your title that you can claim anytime to reach out to the opposition. Because you are not only uncle to SPLM, you are uncle to Pan-Africanists, as you mentioned earlier. That you are Pan-Africanists and how it was formed. And people are, especially Lumumba, still emphasize on that a lot. So I'm take my message to the rest of our elders, not only Gen Council of Elders, but South Sudanese elders. That it's my prayer that our elders will one time or one day, let's take jab or the oil that we have like animal. And the head of animal is mostly given to elders. Wajad al Mahim, Mahimat, they are usually given to elders. So I'm praying that Al Ras Batajad, the head of oil, our elders will sit one day and eat the head of that animal called jazz together, regardless of where they came from, with no fear of being poisoned, because it has been brought to our attention in so many social media that our people hate themselves to the point of poisoning each other. That our people hate themselves to the point of putting something that will cause someone's life into air conditioner.
Comrade Paul, can you get into your question, please? There are a lot of people waiting. Thank
you. Say that again. Sorry.
Oh, I was saying that. Can you get into your question?
Your question.
Go to your question, please.
Thank you. Mine is not a question. I was talking because the opposition was given a chance to talk. But if it is time for question, you can go ahead and put me down, and I will wait until another time is given. Thank you.
Thank you, Comrade Paul. Appreciate it. The next speaker, Uncle, you can go ahead and respond.
Thank you, Paul. What I have captured in your comments is that people reconcile, and means of reconciliation are not isolated from one another. People agree actually to emerge and create an environment acceptable to all in order to do a base for reconciliation with love and with truth. Our people are not like that. Now that I speak like elders, it is the same elders in Nuer community are talking like what I'm saying. The community of Dande is the same. The week before, the barrier community, led by Alfred Lado, met the president and pledged that we have to get together. We, as elders, we want to get together. But the thing is that the politicians see us by assumption that we are a threat. And we have no age that can pose threat to any politician. They don't want to see us sitting together and doing things together. Because our elders, most of them now alive, are people who actually came together from Lubeck Secondary School, Juba Commercial, and continue like that. So we can easily discover one another and we come together. Now, with your comment, what we feel is to create an environment in the country, let people be free, let people come together, let people actually be encouraged to come home. And when they come home, we can emerge. And when we get ourselves having democracy and freedom, we can easily be over parties and others can emerge. And I think you are right there, and I want to appeal to you that let us all of us tell our people to come home and tell the government to create an atmosphere that can bring our people home so that we actually work out what we can do for ourselves. I agree with you, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou. Our next guest to ask question is you are next. So, guys, we will be bringing up 3 people up per a time. So, because we don't need to overcrowd the room. Thank you. Well, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Brother Madita, and the panelists and the audience. This is me, the one Peter Moranyar Piet. Uncle Aldo, I greet you and I welcome you. And I'm thankful to God that we all made it to 2022. I will not have that much to say because I do not agree with the Gen Council of Elders. If anything, I'm so grateful that they existed and I appreciate their contribution. I know a lot of people ridicule and mock them. Even me, sometimes I become victim. They call me a little young cattle elder. Because in our country, when you say the truth, you become the enemy. Whatever the case, we are not going to sit silent and see our people massacre one another and stand up to say a thing. The job you folks did, you elders did, even God will one day give you guys reward. Because if I remember the images of our war of 2013, a war was planned up. It was being planned up, being encouraged by the UN and the international media. Correct. To be a war, to be a war between these countries. Correct. If you look at the sign, there was a sign invented with 2 arrows. With one arrow pointing different direction and says Dinka, another arrow pointing different direction and says Nuer. And the POC was only meant for Dinka and Nuer. There were Darfuri, there were Nuer, there were Chiluk, there were Maban, there were even Ethiopians inside that tent. But why choose 2 tribes and just make them sort of opposite like that? Because the war was meant to be a war between Dinka and Nuer. We were to become very, very vulnerable. And a lot of people do not understand that.
Okay. Hello?
And when that was our mission, to make the war be a war.
Comrade One, mungkin tatla o tiji tani
and
the speaker is not doing well.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
we
hear
can
you
hear
now.
Oh, okay, yes, I was going through the tunnel. You know, in my opinion, there was nothing wrong with the elders standing up to say that to stop it. The war is not war between Dinka and Nuer. It is a war of power struggle. Now, let's look at it today. The Nuer land has been flooded, and a lot of our brothers from Nuer communities have come to the Dinka places. If the war was kept in the way the international media and the United Nations wanted it, and that is the beauty of having the elders in the community so they can see far. And for some reason, nobody even look at that and give the Council of Elders the credit. You are still getting vilified. And with that one there, I cannot agree because I know the truth. Sometimes people get to come in and say, when the Council of Elders there, who even elected them? And who have to elect it? Who? You know, when you see your house in fire, who do you want to elect you? Would you wait for election to be done in order to be a firefighter? You will do whatever you can to put out the fire. You know, second to that too, the transitional constitution of South Sudan, part 2, chapter 27. Okay? Give all of us freedom of assembly. In our constitution, every group of people can get together, form their group, and do whatever they want to do to their country. And so, you know, there is too much witch hunt against the Council of Elders. People are looking for a problem to put on Council of Elders instead of actually appreciating what the JCE is doing. You know, so I will not take that much time because I don't disagree with you. I hope you continue to do more to our country. I hope you reach out to other elders from other communities and start reconciliation. Because what I have realized is that we are ignorant of the serious injuries we have inflicted against one another. So I do believe that reconciliation should be done one day so that people can come up and testify. Because I have come to believe that some people don't feel the pain of others. I guess because we did not have a media that educated the general population. With that said, I yield the mic back to you, Brother Madid, and you can move me down to clear the room.
Thank you, Comrade Well. Appreciate it. Uncle Dr. Aldo, you can go ahead and respond.
Now, I agree with you on what you have said. And we said something, you see, when they use the Juba Yei Road and Juba Numeri, they wanted actually to lure us into taking a revenge, and that can amount to suicide, to genocide. But we knew what they wanted to do, and that is we avoided it. Now, as you have said, we are not afraid of intimidation. What we are afraid of are mistakes that have been made. Mistakes, people went to war, and the suffering of people now who have been caused. But we have proved that we are not involved in triggering the war. Now what I can take from you is that we must actually go down to ourselves in order to come together. And I tell you, Moranyar, we have already done it. If you see the good document we have produced in the national dialogue, by getting down to the bottom and came up with it all through conferences and conferences of regional conferences and national conference, and we came out unanimously for one country and one country, unity in diversity. And we did it, we already did it. But let me tell you, these politicians of ours, let us actually listen to them. Let us pick them up, by the way. One by one, they have to talk to us. They have got so many mistakes. And all the time, they are negotiating their way in to the government. And when they are there, they sit in as if they are sent to destroy it. And I agree to you ultimately about the unanimous
Isaac,
and Troika.
yeah, you can come up
When
and
they
control
break it,
the clubhouse.
President
I
Jonathan
mean the show.
went out, like also the citizen of South Sudan, getting out, and she was almost in the country.
Yeah, you can go ahead. I'm controlling. I'm doing
And she went
interview.
and left 20,000 troops in South Sudan without saying a word to stop, and then move against Denka like that. And she was aware of everything. That was a shame. And it was a shame to her and the Troika, which is talking to us now. And
I put down that photo. Let me just put it up here.
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead, do whatever you do, Isaac.
Together.
Control that room. So
And coming together, the government has to create a situation.
Yeah, you need to remove the photo of Aldo, and then I will put it up in my side.
So that we actually get together, because
okay,
getting together of elders and children are not together does not mean anything. It cannot go anywhere. See? It cannot go anywhere. And I see this young generation seem to be close to you. You are all closer, by the way. And you may fight. You may actually get together. That easily. You are well educated and you seem to know how to talk to one another. And the fact that no community are enemies. Denka is not an enemy to Nuer community or Luo community or Zandi community. We are not enemies. We got ourselves into a situation and where we feel that we are enemies because we are being used by politicians. And this is what I can say, but I'm completely out to see that we actually get to reconcile and change things for a better situation and save ourselves and our country. We should not continue of condemning others while we still manufacture things we are not true. Thank you.
thank you, Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou. Our next speaker is Wilson Madud. You are next. That's your question.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I thank you all the moderators and Uncle Aldo Ajou, and my special thanks goes to Sister Elena Kulikate, who happens to be the creator of this room where we have welcomed our uncle, Mr. Dr. Aldo Ajou. First of all, I will start by introducing myself. My name is Maduranyar Maduragok, and around Kandel, Nona Yinakwa, going north. Maybe you might have an idea of what background I am. I thank you, Uncle Aldo Ajou, and I really appreciate the work you have done with the Council of Elders, Young Council of Elders at large. I don't have many questions to ask you, and the reason is that I am behind you, and you are doing things that are fully serving my interest, and I appreciate the work you have done since the formation of Young Council of Elders. However, I do have a request. I would like you to to give us an overview or explain something regarding the atrocities that were committed against us as James in Wow around 1987 and around 90s as well, until when Uncle George Congo Arab was taken there as widely with Barzazan, and the situation got calmed down. Because some people don't know about that history. The people of Wow, the Paratit, they keep on talking that big have done this, big have done that. Meanwhile, they forgot things they have done to us when we have never actually carried out any sort of atrocity against them as they portray to the public on social media. The other thing too, I would really love it and appreciate it if you tell us the history of Jail Council of Elders, when it was formed, and the reason why it was formed, the aims and the goals and targets, to be exact, plus how did the atrocity, how did the chaos in Juba in 2013 start? I know about it, what happened, but people don't trust it when I tell it to them. They might trust it when it comes out of the mouth of someone of your profile. So that's a bit of my request there. Plus, you know exactly like if the, because the reason why I'm saying this is that it has always been stated here by others that there was a coup that was cooked. It was a fake one in Juba. And then how can he cook a coup or plan it when he didn't recruit Matianganyor beforehand? When he didn't bring Matianganyor to Juba beforehand, and he didn't take some soldiers of young background to places like Bentiu, Akobo, Nasir, Malakal, and Madinbur, including the head and the army in board were of Nuer background under Peter Gadet in Pantandia. And the atrocities committed on Mwanja, there was no single person that was spared unless the survivors were people who ran for their lives and weren't found by the soldiers of Gadet and other generals like James Comchua Radley. You know, things like this are always skipped, and
Comrade Madhu, go to your question, please, because we have a lot of people down.
Yeah, I'm not here to question. I'm just making a request for an explanation.
Okay.
Because Uncle is actually doing my work, so I'm not here to question him. So I'm only suggesting or making a request. The other thing I would like to say is that there are a few people who are in the opposition, and they know me. I'm an outspoken person here on social media, and they have requested me to be allowed to come and ask questions because they are of non-Dinka background. Namely, Suleiman Dendra, he is down there. He's from he's of Bongo background. He's one Bongo actually, and from what I know, Bongo are Tonji, one. But he claimed that he's run wild. And he seemed to be one of those people who carried out atrocities against James in 90s and 80s. Wow. So I would like that kind of person to come here and get disputed directly in front of people through sufficient evidence. Another request is there's someone called Simon Abui. He's a member of NAS group. He's not a separatist, but he thinks he needs some reform, and he's always accusing Jail Council of Elders. That person should also be invited, and he should relay his questions or ask his questions and get answers. Thank you, and I appreciate you so much, Mr. Dr. Aldo Ajou. May God bless you and keep on increasing your age. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed. I totally agree with you in many of your areas. What I have to explain now how how the war broke out in Juba, how it was triggered and how it was ignited, and I followed. What happened was that President Salva Kiir in 2012 gave a statement in the parliament accusing a number of people of having taken money, about 4 billion, and then continue on this line, working with anti-commission, anti-corruption on this money, until he wrote 75 letters to ministers and former ministers, then in the government, to return the money. That was that. Then in March 2013, there was a meeting of political bureau. That was that meeting anticipated was in anticipation of elections in 2015, and then it came up in the meeting of political bureau that Salva was going to contest for the party ticket. 3 people came up in the meeting, face to face, declaring themselves as candidates next in 2015. Obena Mo, Dr. and Madame Rebecca. Waniga told them that I'm not going to contest now. This Salva is contesting. If Salva is not contesting, I will contest with you people. And that was the starting utterances that actually amounted to what became a war. And then on 2013, Salva removed them from the government and also removed Secretary General Fabena Mom and Young Machar and all of them by this misunderstanding. They came out and they got themselves a group led by Dr. On 6 December 2013, they held a press conference in SPLM House, led by Dr. and read out the discussion proposing the amendment on the manifesto and constitution of SPLM. That press conference went off, and on the 9th, Dr. Wani Iga also came to the SPLM house, the same place where they held the press conference, and held the press conference on the 9th. Again, disputing what these people have done. So they came and then the extra convention was in line coming until they went to the meeting divided on 14 December 2013.
Hello, Abraham. You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hang on.
I put
Let me get it.
it.
Okay, hang on. Let me get another
They could not come back to the meeting and resolve to be closed. And it was closed, and
I'm monitoring Clubhouse, that's why.
Yeah, I know.
At 9 p.m.
There's a lot of people, like 200 people are in Clubhouse.
Where? At the headquarters of the army. With who? Between those supporting Riek Machar and those supporting Salva Kiir. That was the war. We did not anticipate that the South was going to go to war by itself. No one, we never knew. But they did it.
So,
Those
Isaac, you can get the
involved in
picture
that
at the
thing,
when you go to the setting.
in that
You can see those. I put that I load.
All right, thank you. I got it now.
Okay.
They are known from the Denka officers and Nuer officers. People know them. If there were something to show down a justice, their names will come up. And this is what happened. We were surprised to see a random fighting in Juba. I was in Juba myself. And then leaving Juba and went for revenge outside Juba in a very heavy way. Now, if anything, the declaration of the fact that the government of Salva Kiir, the known man who has been fighting for liberation of South Sudan from 1962, all throughout his life, and at the end, raised the flag of South Sudan as independent in the ticket of SPLM. How can such a person be declared a Denka and running a Denka government? And in fact, he went for elections in 2010. No one has ever said the election was rigged for Salva Kiir. It was not rigged. It was openly done. And then it was endorsed by the National Assembly. The elected National Assembly endorsed him to continue in transition until election is made. That is how the thing came. If you ask what motivated us, we were actually emotionally induced into answering the UN or answering the politicians, see, who did not address their problem properly. They left their problem and they jump on Denka. Collectively, every Denka is an enemy. And that was an evidence we picked from both. We pick it also from Bentiu and Malakan. And you are right to say that all these things, how we were formed, we form ourselves to defend ourselves and to defend the government because the mission of and vision of the people who wanted to change the government was totally unclear and was governed by propaganda and disinformation. That's why what brought us here. And that's what I say. We had a justification to say, why we? And by the way, we addressed even the President of the United States. We did not leave anybody else. You see? Because we actually played politics and wanted to remove this kind of thing. This kind of thing, we wanted to remove it. Because, you know, our war, we fought it against arms. And some people want to fight the war in South Sudan against Denka. There is no reason for a Denka that actually had the government for 2 years on, and you go to war. Yesterday you were vice president, you go to war and call it the government of Denka when you were there. You see? We found that this is not the way really governments are changed. And really, how a war against domination or racism or colonialism is fought. We know all these things have happened. But this thing was completely irrelevant to what happened to them until they were removed, until their proposal to amend the Constitution, there are people who are sympathetic with them because Democracy must begin from the party to the public, and there was sympathy. But they took it as something, the Denka thing. That is what actually we were emotionally induced to defend the government without even permission from anybody. We were not advised to start on it. Themselves don't want to see us glaringly talking to people. They get angry. They think that we want their power. And this is a part of the whole thing. But I think that's the stage, I call it phase one, where we were emotionally induced into this crisis to defend the government of the day has gone. Because the government we defended is not there any longer. There was a government, transitional government of SPLM, and SPLM is not the one in the government. It has changed. Already there is something called presidency and a group of mini prime ministers, 5 of them, this called clusters, are there. They are the ones running the government. The SPLM is not there anymore. So we say it is now irrelevant for people to say the regime changed. There is no regime. If there is anything to change, it is a revitalized transition government of national unity. It's not anymore. So we say that there is no government you are changing, but we have to advocate realities of changing the situation into what we see as authoritarianism to democracy in order to have liberty, freedom, and movement within the limit of the law, and we do the Constitution. That when we are all free, we can be able to fight over the government by actually going for elections and come there by majority. And that is always peaceful. This is what we want now. We are not any longer advocating because we have no showdown with any community. We are not against any community in South Sudan. People must know we have never mentioned a single community. That community is our enemy. Our enemies are people who lie. That it is the Denka who have done this. The lie to the world and the lie to society. The records are there. That's the people we don't want. So we are just immersed with you in phase 2. Phase 2 is to realize peace in a correct way. Not actually leaving ceasefire hanging on, and people have got things to settle. They are not reconciled. Different voices and in one government will amount to failure. It will not work, and we are worried about that.
Thank you, Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou. Before I give the chance to the next speaker, I just want to clarify this. When we give you, we will timing 2 to 3 minutes because this is a question. If you ask your question, it will be not less than 2 minutes. We will give you 2 minutes to ask your question. Second, if you have your question, please be respectful. When I hear the insult word or any other word that I will remove you. Just be responsible, respectful, and then go ahead with your question and reduce yourself. Thank you. Our next speaker, 2 minutes. Oyed, you are the next. Oyed, can you hear me? Okay, the Oyed is not there, so get back. Got Bakwi, are you there? Got Bakwi, are you there? Got Bakwi, are you there? Okay, if Garbal is not there, so I will move to the next. Aru, you are next. Aru, go ahead.
Thank you, Comrade Alana and Makermabil for the opportunity, and for Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou. Thank you too for participation. I will ask a question direct to our Uncle Dr. Aldo Ajou. My question is, Dr. As you mentioned before, that there is a hatred by hearing the name of Dinka, and we have faced a lot of challenges, as some of our participants mentioned before. We have been killed in Yei Road and Nimili Road and so many other places, just for the sake of the name of Dinka. And when we come to your role, by the way, I need to know what were the objectives of Gen Council of Elders. And from there, I have taken into context Gen Council of Elders has a very important role as our organization, as you mentioned, and an organization like other individual cluster like Bari community, Nuer community, and other and so forth. And do you ever one day meet with this community and let them recognize or let them know that, or have awareness that Dinka is not a government, Dinka is just an individual like other 64 tribes, so that they can aware their other individual groups not to target Dinka tribes or to target another Dinka who is minority or who is just miskin for each other, so that they know their community or their leaders, like you yourself now, you are a leader of Young Council of Elders, and you can aware of that this is how we should stay, this is how we should unite ourselves, and this is the only way that we can go forward to have one country. My question is, have you ever had a meeting with this cluster group of other communities or organizations, as you mentioned? And thank you very much, Aru.
Okay, Aru, thank you very much. In 2014, we met the organization Equatorial Region led by Clement Janda, and we were invited by Clement Wani, then the governor, to come to his hall in the office of the governor of Central Equatoria. When it was not divided, it was still 10. We came to the meeting, and the governor was not in the hall, and Clement Janda was there with almost all the Equatorians that were representing Equatoria. Our move was to calm down Juba in order for more trouble not to take place among the citizens. And we thought if we were together, and that is what Clement Wani saw. When we came to the meeting, the statement was read out by Clement Janda. And Clement Janda, in his statement, told us that we are here only to meet an organization that represents Barkiza or represents Upper Nile. We are representing Equatoria. And for those who are representing the community to come and meet with us, we reject this meeting. See? And the governor was absent. Some of us walk out from the meeting because we thought that there would be another way of Clement Gender addressing us. And we walk out. Our people tried to remain behind, but they couldn't make it, and that was the breakdown. We had another confrontation in a hall in the same thing, I think 2015 or 2015, before Yak could come in. And we had the meeting in which we were rebuked very badly by Equatorian, and it was Equatorian and people, young country. We were actually insulted and all that, but we answered. We answered them, but they didn't feel that they were also wrong. So, with Equatoria represented by Central Equatoria, not West or East, Central Equatoria, we were unable to come together with them because their hatred of Denka is very high. And we feel that we cannot go on any further. For people who have been killed on the road to Ye or normally, we do not complain because we know that this was a design to anger the Denka in the town, and they were aware that the bulk of army, majority, have come to Juba from the Denka, and the one has to actually be lured into committing genocide with the one to really get the UN and the world involved. Like they thought it would come out like Rwanda, but we know that we are very reasonable people because Nilotics are reasonable. We are not like Francis who slaughters people because Nilotics will fight the state if there is a fighting, and we don't actually kill people in cold blood. No. It may be now, but we don't do this at all. What happened in Cuba at that time was not approval of Monjeng because no. That one we just avoided it. And you might have seen also after when we went to Arab model, it was we who initiated it. And the elders of Nuer all came, and it is we who brought them actually, not by younger child. We didn't want them to come. And we met around more 3 days. We came out with our resolution to bring them to Juba, to President Salva, and they go to Riyadh, where he was in Padang. We went like that. Our sin was not answered also by President Salva, and they were not answered by Riyadh. And do you know what happened? The elders decided to join who? Taban Dengai. Those who met us, all elders. They came and became part of Taban Dengai, and they became also advisors in the government. And none of us was appointed advisors. These are things we did because we were completely against politicians, not communities. And that's why we met them, and we have always been like that. Anybody who might have seen us in the television, when there were crises or people wanted to revenge, when people were killed in big numbers in Rio, we went to television together. And we went to television together, including Angela Beda, you see, to step up the fact that this is completely isolated. It shouldn't be something that can put us into loggerheads. And this is how we behave, actually. And up to now, our relation is still work. But if the work of elders really liked by politicians, they seem to be against it. if you can see, we are suspicious. Why? Why? They don't like people to come together. And this is a hanging problem of what to do with this peace if our people are not ready to come together. What will it do? Right now, there is a fighting inside the IO, in Tambra, in Baragazal, and also in Fadak. There is fighting going on. And it may happen. Nobody is talking about it. Yaki is not talking about it. Ikat is not talking about it. We are asking what will happen, by the way. It is starting small, but it may grow bigger. And if it grows bigger, what will happen to it? These things are not answered now. This is what I can share with you because you wanted me to share these ideas with you. That so far is where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Aldo. Brother McKay, you can take over from here.
Can we give our 2 minutes break? Thank you. Okay, you can put like some music maybe, or you guys want to go ahead. Thanks.
Okay, it's good. Yeah, let's take a break. Yeah. Makir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you can take over. I know there are some people who speak Arabic, so we neglect them. So I mostly use English. So you can just talk in Arabic so the rest can benefit from it. Uncle can take a break now. Let me see if I can play a little bit music.
Hello?
Uncle, are you going to go take a break?
Yes.
For 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then you can come back.
Yes.
Uncle Ajou, الآن تقوم تاخذ راحة شوية تشرب موية.
Okay.
بعدين دقيقتين لما تشرب موية إذا عملت حاجة.
شكرا.
لأن أنت تكلمت كثير وبعد ذاك في إنبو في الاستوديو. الشيء الثاني برضه ما يقدر يصير منك زمن كثير لو زمن مسموح لك كم ثاني لقدام.
اوكي.
نقدر ننظم نفسنا يعني مسموح لك كم ثاني من الزمن بتاعك كم من الزمن. عشان ننظم نفسنا ونوصل للزمن بتاعك. يعني تقدر تقعد معنا كم زمن ثاني بتاعك.
خلينا أنكل نقعد ما تطلع.
اوكي. That nice.
Mute microphone. Rồi các bạn microphone để bảo luôn mute. Nói chúng ta bị có loa mute.
قالوا ده شرب مويه ولا توقف طوالي.
ده ممكن دقيقتين
بس.
عمو الميوزك الكويسة الميوزك ده.
I'm trying to get. Isaac, can you put the music on your end?
Okay.
Okay, good. say either we are back.
Okay.
يا ريت يكون الكاسيت يكون ما في حاجة عشان احنا برضو ما يكون خاص بجنك، خليه يكون اوبن.
طبعا كلام الغناوة الشاعر
انا عارف فاهمه، انا فاهم
انت لو فاهمه
انت قد يكونوا ما فاهمين.
يلا معلش الزول ما تفهمه ده الكلام ده اصلا يعني ما كلام شرعي كويس. زي بس كان الفاصل بتاع الدكتور ألدو أجو عشان يتكلم يعني ياخذ فاصل. نحن هنا ما نمسك كاسر، كلامنا كان كلام بس الحي اشتغلناه خلاص هو عشان هو يشيل زمن بسيط وبعدين نرجع، لكن ما لنا الميوزك هنا.
تمام.
المهم دكتور هو الآن وصل بالتفكير انتهى ربما أذكر، والآن كان الدور على الأستاذ نتالي، وبعد ذلك نمشي لكاميرا الأزور رادس والتقديم شاري قدام. تفضل أستاذ نتالي.
اوكي، شكرا شديد وشكرا للحضور.
دقيقة نتالي بس دقيقة نشوفها. الدكتور عندنا اليوم قاعد موجود معنا. دكتور ألدو أجو.
يا مكير سؤال في ميوت لو تقدر تجيبه من الميوت ولا نزلوه وجيبوا فوق يعني.
Good now. It's good. I couldn't stop then I can you before you ma.
كويس. تفضل نتالي. أزعل سؤالك يا دكتور معنا فوق.
اوكي، شكرا شديد. شكرا للحضور وشكرا للناس اللي قاموا بالبرنامج ده على راسهم رئيس المجيد مكير ان الزمن بتاع الدكتور هنا معنا. بنشكركم كله. السؤال كالاتي. واحد، معلش انا انجليزي بتاعي تعبان شديد. ما تكون ما هو كويس تمام. على حسب ما انا استكمله من الكلام بتاع الدكتور ألدو، الباين انه هم يقولوا الحكومه التنفيذيه في جنوب السودان لانه قاموا بكذا مبادرات، وحكومه بتفكير واسبيا ما موجودين في اي حته من المواقع بتاعت المفروض هم ياخذوا فيه قرار. من ضمنهم في ناس قاعدين في مخيمات في جوبا هناك ما حصل شفنا قيادات من ابناء جنوب السودان باستثناء هم تابعين لياتو حزب مش زاروا الحته ده. سو هنا العنوان المكتوب فوق هنا هو what SPLM do right or wrong في 2013. ده أنا ما أعرف علاقة بتاعه شنو مع الدكتور ألدو. From what I know إنه الحركة الشعبية ما في ممثل بتاعه هنا. ده واحد. نمرة اثنين، لو كان دكتور جون جرن كان عايش as we speak today، هل دكتور ألدو كان بيلقى موت القدم في السياسة في جنوب السودان؟ نمرة ثلاثة والأخير، وجود بتاع elders كجين كانسل اوف elders طبعا بيجيبوه دائما في كل حته. and I'm very critical دائما بيتكلم عنهم كثير لانهم they are interfering بالافكار بتاع الجنوبيين. في الزمن الذي انت كنت قاعد فيه خرطوم، شنو القدرة تقدم للحركه الشعبيه الحزبي الكير
ممكن يفتخر به، وأننا كشعب جنوب السودان يفتخر به في مجال بتاع السياسة اللي كان في الخرطوم زمان. وأنا بقيت هنا. Thank you.
أنا شكرا. أنا ببتدي بخرطوم.
أنا وتسمع المديت هناك معلش. Thank you. Go ahead, دكتور.
أنا ببتدي من الخرطوم. أنا لو كنت ما داير جنوب السودان كنت حملت البندقية. I would have actually organized a militia and form an army to fight people of South Sudan, but I did not do it. And I don't know استعمال بتاع البندقية ذاته. أنا زول كنت بتكلم في area بتاع جنوب السودان. By principle, I was a defender of South Sudan. معروف. But then if you can look at archives in Khartoum, if you are a researcher, you search and you will get whatever I have said. I think I have never missed it to talk about South Sudan versus the domination of Khartoum. So that is my pride. And what we did as people of South Sudan in Khartoum, one day will be found in archives of Dr. John. I know John did not lose any paper. If what I know, if he has kept them, and those papers are available, you will know what contribution we made. And the fact that I walk away when the young child came to Khartoum is a credit. I walk away from Khartoum and I was a deputy speaker. A man respected and a man who was in the government of Bashir as a deputy speaker. I walk away because when they came, the agenda was not the same like what we are doing in our own sense. So this is this claim that we were doing nothing in Khartoum is a claim of some people who claim that they are socialists. يعني في ناس بيقولوا هم استراكين. أنا ما أعرف استراكية ده. يعني وجدوه في اثيوبيا ولا شالوه من هنا. المشى من بور لاثيوبيا لجنوب السودان. That agenda of some people coming there and calling themselves communists was something else, and they were the people against us. By the way, we traditional leaders, those were the people. If you are one of them, then you are right by saying that we did nothing. No. We did a lot. You see, since I left Rumbek Secondary School in 1967, I was online. Like Salva Kiir, who actually fought war. 1962, up to date. And what can you despise about this? If you were actually associated with the Communist Party of Khartoum, then that is, I call them Pan-Arabists. And I call the socialists in Africa Pan-Africanists. And that's it. We are not just Russian or whatever it is. Now, that is my answer to you about Khartoum. What did we do? And why we... And you know, some houses in my own area, in a will, one family of 10 children is close up. They have all been killed. We are in the borders. And in the SPLA, some people know what we did. So some people out there who are talking have not even did not lose any member of their family. And they talk very hard. See? We don't like to toe that line because there can be simple arithmetic of showdown. So Anna, that Kalamar Bukule. Anna, I defected because some people came from Araka, 1991, and they wanted to show up and to form an army to fight South Sudanese. I didn't want to see South Sudanese educated fighting South Sudanese. and fighting on behalf of Khartoum physically. I didn't like that. That's why I went and declared myself with the with the SPLM, SPLA. It was not by mistake. It was online with my belief. Shukran. That is my answer.
Makir, thank you, Makir, the green button and the panelist. Dr. Aldo Ajou, John Dengakwe.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I didn't have the time to give you congratulations when you get your PhD. You made us very proud, and I was talking with you a few months ago, and I didn't have a chance to say congratulations. So now I met you here. I'm very impressed and also very humble.
Thank you.
I know you have done a lot, and I would not ask you more about the JC because when it was founded, a lot of good things have been achieved. You and the other members, you stopped our gang to retaliate against our cousin Nuer, and that's a good thing. You've done an excellent job. I would only have one question, and this one will be reference to our government. And I will say from this book of the communists, it's after the end of the communist rule in the Eastern Europe, and the break of the Soviet Union, many observers suggested that the revolution never really achieved their objective. I am wondering if that SPLM party has really achieved anything, and if not, will you one day write down in your memoir and write a book that can be read by the generation and the generation to come? Number two, the bourgeoisie are the people who control the means of production in the capitalist society. Two, the proletariat are the members of the working class. I'm wondering if the SPLM party has an ideology, and if yes, which one of those two does that SPLM party fall on it? And those are my two things. I just want to say thank you for what you have been doing. I know there's a lot of criticism from the other opponents, but that one will not detract me from supporting the work of our elders, because an elder is an elder, and you and others, you are our elders. So continue to do the good work. And my last one is about the election. Do you think that there's a possibility that the election will take place? Because I've been campaigning for the last 2 years. And I don't see any solution only if the election can be conducted in order to save ourselves from further endangerment. And with that, I will say thank you so much. And with this, have a good day and continue to do the good work. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll begin with the elections. I wrote an article yesterday, and I gave my opinion on elections. I said, if anything, it is a commission of truth, healing, reconciliation, forgiveness to try to take off now. And we bring these politicians to the forum. And if they can reconcile, we may forge a way forward to go for elections. And if they fail again, and we don't want to go to war, we can see how we can write the Constitution, because the Constitution is ready, and go for elections to choose, provided that we have returned our people, refugees, and we have done the census, even by estimation percentages, so that we have a population, and then other regulations like law governing political parties, elections, and all that. And we go for people to choose, not to see another physical struggle to usurp power. I said that my opinion may be, if we were to form the national army and then the judiciary and set down the liberty and rule of law, why not? We can go for elections and defer some areas of the agreement to be implemented thereafter. That is what I can say. For the SPLM, and I have made a very serious research on SPLM, and all of it is based on political theory and philosophy used by Dr. John and the theory used by Dr. John. And I discovered that Dr. John was aware of the theory of liberation of Africa that was done by Congolese, Karl Marx, and then the international theory of social development. The two theories, I used them, and I have discovered that Dr. John sufficiently used this one. And also, I didn't very much dismiss the fact that South Sudan became an ally to Soviet Union before it broke up into pieces. And I think that was something done because the same people could not liberate us, and that's what happened to all of African liberation movements. They actually forged alliance with the Soviet Union for the purpose of national liberation. Nationalism, not that they were actually communists. And I think there is more to get out of this, because the West, where you are now, are not interested to see that Africa become actually of its own. They are still showing neocolonialism and imperialism by using their money to keep us down and by killing the industrial development in Africa, because development of Africa means that Africa can use its own raw materials and send the finished goods to the West. And they don't want that. The capitalists do not want it. So whether we like it or not, we would have to fight a way out of how Africa can actually independently relate to the world by doing their own even democracy in the open air of what is in the West is not even open. It is controlled by law, and we need that one. And the basis we can use is SPLM, because if you test the parties that are actually fighting now, there is no outstanding single party addressing the social issues, economic or political, addressing them. No one. But the history of SPLM addressed all these issues, and documentaries available. So this achievement at the back is very important to look at and bring it about. I hope you will read my book, because I have converted my text to a book, which actually now it is in the hands of publishers. It is being printed, and the title is Evolution of SPLM from 1983 to 2016. where they fought in the palace. And most of it is not about SPLA. It is about SPLM, although I know that the upper hand at SPLA in the war, and I had reason actually to take my book on political life, that is on the philosophy used and why we opted to liberate Sudan as a whole. And then the material itself and what will happen thereafter, you know, the statement of the Constitution. And I think it is something we will not avoid. I think you generation coming, you will not avoid socialism as we have put it, because if we go industrial, then the proletarians will prevail. They will all prevail. But our problem now is that we leave open an economy in our country now, and without questioning it, the foreigners are invading it, and no laws to protect our economy, and the market is going its own way, and we have no single cooperatives that are operating, at least for essential food stuff and all this. It's not there. And I think there is something to revisit with SPLM. If people think that SPLM has lost the trade, the track, and has lost the vision and so on, the vision is available. But the humans are there doing nothing. So I think it is a matter of choice. Where do we belong? Yani we can be irrelevant to belong to the Western world, where there is a capitalist economy of their own, will be irrelevant because that economy was built on robbery of other of other wealth like Africa. So our wealth really is there. And if you go to archives of the West or whatever it is, find that they took away even our own things, which shows the how Africa was. They have got in their museum. There are lots to be there. So, for me, in my opinion, I think that it is time to think separately from the West and to think separately from this UN, you see, and make Africa at least a sense of trying to know a way for its own, build its own, because liberation is not finished. Liberation of human beings is not finished here. We are fighting on nothing. South Sudan is fighting on nothing that can actually be done after war. Nothing. There are no documents of that kind. So, communism, Karl Marx was there in Germany. But the Germans did not become communist. But there is also that theory. It contains what human being can get for welfare. By the way, you know. So militarism, which was introduced by Lenin, is rather some kind of mistake there. But are we going to be like this, like we are, receiving foreigners and say you come in and invest on no condition? Can that help us really? Or are we inviting exploitation of Africa? I'm not differing with you, but I think let us think to keep where the SPLM is starting. If that theory can find something, why not? Why not? This is my answer. Although it may not be fair, but I appreciate your comments. Thank you. Magid, did you call me?
I Comrade Makir, we cannot hear you properly. What did you say?
Okay.
Now yeah, okay. Oh, you said Prabi? Okay. Oh, Prabi, you mentioned you.
Yeah, try to write it again. Okay, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to all of you. And okay.
Thank you.
Uncle Aldo Ajou, welcome to Clubhouse. It's great that you're here. My question, I will have only two questions. I'm not going to talk a lot. There's this question that is always brought up by the opposition, and I also heard that you also work these shows which are made by these South Sudanese who are opposition. A show like show of Teresa called Our Diversity. That this show that is made by this guy called Edward. I think you watch those shows. And also here in Clubhouse, the question that I'm going to ask, I think Anzine asked it earlier, but I guess you did not answer it. So I'm going to repeat it again. The question is this. Most of opposition, they are talking a lot about JCE. They claim, it seems like most of them rebel from the government or whenever they form their rebellion. Most of the time, it seems like they rebel because of JCE. Because they say that you, the JCE, are actually the mouthpiece of the government, which is the government of Salva Kiir. This is their claim. So I want to know from you if actually what they say is true, if you guys are actually the mouthpiece of the government of Salva Kiir, because their claim is that they say anything that you guys say is what Kiir actually does. That's my first question. Second one, they also say that after the peace that was signed with the FPLA IO, represented by the Korean, the last peace that was signed with him, when there was a question of the state and all those things, they also claim that you, the DP, actually carved out the ruling from the unity state and made it an administrative area. They said that idea actually came from you, the DCE, and President Kiir with the government implemented it. So I want to know from you, Uncle Aldo Ajou, if those two claims are actually true, because this is a thing, the war that we always fight on this Clubhouse and in some other social media, you know. So can you clarify to us, to the best of your knowledge, if these two claims are actually true or not? And thank you.
Thank you very much. The last question actually of Ruwen is easy. Ruwen, we were not even consulted, by the way. You know, things here are difficult with us, we don't say them. But when Ruwen and before were given this ticket as administration of their own, I think it was a good thing for the government. It is a good thinking. Because as you can see, overwhelmingly, Jonglei is Nuer and Denka by very big majority. And you know, Anuak and Kashibo or Morale are very distinct on their own. They seem to be, and that one was not a favor. I think it was something that any country can do to give a local government to a group of people who have got a special category and within the big body. We did not talk about ruin. It is the same accusation when
when the 10 states were expanded, it was Riyak who actually got 21 states, which is still functioning now. And they don't talk about it. We did not say it was well done by Riyak or it was wrong. They actually get a small thing like ruin, and they want to make a lot of things about it. If you see the unity state among themselves, the Nuer, are they united? Now, if you can see unity state, Bentiu, who are there? Contenders. Riyak is there, Taban is there, Tutkau is in, Joseph Muntwil, another Baping Muntwil, and Angelina is rising. This is Bentiu, by the way. Can one think that Ruwen can have a place in a very congested place like that, where everybody has got an army, all of them have got an army? Is that a peaceful place for a unique place like Ruwen with all the resources, land and oil, very rich? Then why do you complain and say it is jail? It is not true. It is the same. We put it in the same package of what to do with Monjang. We were not involved on this. For Jian Council, people who say that they made the government and they are the one advising the government, let me tell you, if we advise today the president to appoint someone and we tell them, people who are talking like that, give us their names and we talk to the president, they will not be appointed. Would have spoiled their appointment, by the way, because we are not accepting that. But we don't want to shout and say we are rejected by anybody. We find that we are grown up, we are on our own. The way we see things happening, how we see things is how we speak. And we don't want to be favored even. We don't want to be favored or praised. No. We want to participate on issues as to present themselves, because this is our country. And also, we have people behind who are brave, people whom we can consult if we don't have. So, I think when we actually measured JC, they thought that we are just little and we have no knowledge, because some of them expressed to have actually obtained qualitative degrees than others. But it's not the case. And we have been to schools together and so on, and this is what they assume. What I'm telling you is that no one is ready to get our advice, whether those who are opposing or the government people who sell the kill. They don't even want to do anything. We advise. If we advise, they go also. So let me tell you, we don't want to confess such a thing. We want to stay and let them actually upgrade us, that we can advise the whole South Sudan, and what we advise can be implemented. I enjoy it because they are actually promoting us without their knowledge. If they can, they have to investigate and research. Have we really been suggesting things that are done? Can anybody think that the way peace is going can be our work? Can we accept this slow move of implementation of peace to go like this? Can we accept the government where president is not accepted by Djibouti. Can we? And this is our stand, and we say that the government is not together, and the government which is not together cannot make a collective decision and defend a collective decision. We know it. We know that. So take us for people who are keen to show and point out what is wrong. This is what we do. So we are not accepting, and also we enjoy their. Now I'm forced to tell you, but we enjoy their upgrading us. That we are the one governing. I tell you, if we are governing, that thing of Khartoum, this agreement would have not been signed. If we were, this agreement is bogus. It is clumsy. It is not a straightforward thing. It's a bad agreement. Agreement that actually denounce our army, an army which is recognized well over SPLA to be a militia. Can we have power? Can we accept everything? No, we are on our own, and because this is our country, we point out what is our interest. If it can help our country, that is our national interest, our own interest, and we actually skip what does not belong to us. So, sorry for that. If somebody continues to say this, well, we condemn only because that person is promoting us to be actually the most strong people. No, we are not. We are not. But we are there. And our voice has to be heard. We cannot shrink to our own pigeonholes or whatever we call it. That's my answer to two questions you have put. And I have justified that we have always been there. Thank you.
Comrade, now, the next thing is going to be Jamie.
Hey.
Okay, okay. James, سؤال واحد خلي الزمن وخاصة في ظرف دقيقة تقول سؤالك. Can you hear me? Yeah.
We can hear you. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I just have to say, like, Happy New Year to all of you. I see Helena, Makar, Madid, Dow, our elder Dr. Aldo. Happy New Year. So I have to appreciate Dr. Aldo's time to come here and talk to us. I think he's not only like a JC elder, but I think now he becomes South Sudan elder. He's always here with us, and I appreciate that. And I have to acknowledge that he always here to talk to us, human being. Okay? So I'm from Equatoria. I have to clear something out first. So I think Arun mentioned about Nimel Road killing. That is not acceptable by anybody, but I'm saying Equatorian is responsible. So that was after 2013 conflict. So let's not blame Equatorian because of that. So those were his IO, not the good. So I hear this all the time from the community. We should not condone. I don't condone any kind of killing. But anyway, right? So then go ahead. Yeah, someone was talking. So anyway,
finish your question.
So I don't condone any human being or any civilian in South Sudan. But what happened in 2013 was wrong. So Nimla Road killing was not acceptable, and that was not done by Equatorians. Doesn't matter. So let me go to my question. So in 2017, so this was Dr. like Aldo Ajou, part of him. So in 2017, the coup took place. Second, if there's a coup, who was responsible? Third, if there's a coup in 2013, why were Nuer killed door to door by the government or military or tier militia, which is Matanganyar? Who was the victim? No, it's a question. Thank you. So who was responsible for killing that Nuer door to door? That's the government first. Government, military are supposed to protect civilians. Who was killing Nuer door to door? Who's responsible for that? So then if there's a coup, it's only done by one individual or entity. So arrest that person who is trying to commit a coup. If there's a coup, was there a coup? If there's a coup, then why was Kir government killing Nuer door to door? Thank you. That's my question. I just came here to ask a question. That's it. Thank you. And Happy New Year.
Well, people actually call it a coup because they follow the process of disagreement, which actually started as early as March 2013, and move on to the government disagreement, move on to the political party, and at the end of political gathering, it actually ignited into a fire, dividing people straight, people who were seen in the conflict. Now, that one alone, happening at night, there were people involved. And because we have not investigated, I cannot determine for you to define it as a coup. But a crime was committed. It was not even a political crime when people were killed in their houses. It is a criminal act. Political resolution after war, the political war, and identified and defined as political war, is always resolved on the basis of political justice. So your question is pending more investigation and more qualification for history to define it as a coup. Because after all, this is history, and I cannot move into history now to answer your question that it was a coup without me placing evidence, historical evidence on this, how coups occur, and what are the criteria of a coup, and so on. So I think this question, we leave it pending. If we are lucky, then there can be what they call a court where foreigners will be represented, that is hybrid court, and investigation like the Truth Commission, and so on. This thing will prevail. But I think with the records of historians, if we look around now and check the historian, what they have written about this coup, we may discover, I have not read anything, so I cannot go in to qualify it left or right. Anyone like that, until and when I have to check other people's writers, I think already it may be out and we don't know. And can we look up together and we can find, actually, history is already done and has recorded and has actually now determined whether this is a coup or something fake. So this is the way I can answer. And then when you say about Yei Road or normally things like that has happened even in Bargaza, and they are happening now in Upper Nile. So in crisis of this kind, some mistakes are made by some people who can be desperate. And you are right by saying that we cannot actually blame all Equatorians to have acted on this. There must be people who did it, and there may be few, and they can design it, by the way. But if we have not identified them, we cannot actually put it on Equatoria. You are right on that. And I, for one, I cannot actually blame all Equatoria to have done it on Yeros or Numali. I know some Equatorians are talking sense. They are not for it. They are not for anybody to be attempting on the street. And I tell you, Equatorians now are doing better than the enemy, with only Tumbra, and Tumbra is SLMIO making trouble there. See, it is not there because these people have been staying long centuries together, and they have never had such war. And it is happening now in Upper Nile and anywhere. And by the way, don't dismiss it. It may encourage you to Juba, by the way, and create. Small wars begin like that, and they can destroy it. So, anybody blaming all Equatorians, you are right. That person is not looking at the facts or what to say. These things happen. When people are fighting, there are elements who can actually destroy it. Yeah. Thank you. Shukran Bek.
شكرا لك أستاذ مكير, Ustaz Ellen, Ustaz Madid, all the moderators and all the South Sudanese who are listening. And on the top of that, Dr. Aldo Ajou, first of all, I want to thank you for your long calling services to the people of Sudan and people of South Sudan when you joined the politics as somebody can be acknowledged as a very good civil servant to the people of South Sudan, and you will still continue doing it. And also, I want to thank you to become a role model to the young people who can be demoralized by the development of life. But when they look at you as somebody who was working, had a very good position in the government, and left the country, left the good position, just to go and defend his own people. And on the top of that, did not give up because of the age, but he's still going to school and achieve his PhD. I will call you a very good role model and a very good motivator, and I want to thank you for that. If people of South Sudan don't benefit from you collectively, I will try Nyakon Mayong. I will always set you as my good example, and I want to thank you for that. Also, I want to thank you for being a very good citizen of South Sudan, who knows his rights as a citizen, a good citizen. According to the constitution of the country, chapter 2, I believe, paragraph 46, is talking about the rights of the citizens. And it's talking, if you go to B, say duties of the citizens. That's paragraph 6, chapter 2, paragraph 46, the duties of the citizens. يعني واجبات المواطن لدولة ذاته. The Alif, we will defend the country and respond to the call for the national services in accordance with the provisions of this constitution and the law. And 1B, promote peace, harmony, unity, fraternity, and tolerance among all the people of South Sudan in order to transcend ethnic, religious, geographical, and political divisions, which actually we are in. I want to thank you because you meet that
criteria as being a good citizen, you as a Jain Council of Elders. And sometimes I just feel that people want to deny you your right as a citizen of South Sudan who want to voluntarily serve the country and save the lives of South Sudan people. You have done that. This is actually in the Constitution. But sometimes when people talk on the social media, they say that JCE, they should not involve in the politics of South Sudan. But the Constitution of South Sudan is asking all of us as a South Sudanese, as a good citizen, to promote this peace and harmony. And that's what you guys have done in 2014. And you voluntarily went to the United Nations. You went to the international community. You went even to the late President Arab Moi. Monsieur we did not do to us to promote peace. With the heart without the story. Do you sometimes feel that our people are denying you your right because of their out of their ignorance, because they don't read their constitution, which is actually the contract between the people and their country? Do you guys that feel that way? Sometimes we are denying you your rights. That's number one. Number two, Bolu, I want to thank you by being really very polite, very polite, and also a very peaceful person, even though you were attacked. We did ask a question earlier based on what we heard today when Dr. Romyaba was talking. Denying you as somebody who joined the SPLM in 1994, and you declared it that you joined the SPLM by leaving a very big post as a deputy speaker of the House. Simply, so what they did declare. But today, when I heard it, Peter Adok said a very strong statement. As Aldo Ajou, they were shifting, but did not acknowledge that you were the SPLM. Acknowledge without people should acknowledge the rights of other people as you acknowledge it as your best friend, as a very good analyst. You never said a negative about anybody. Even President Kiir, you acknowledge his service when he joined the movement in 1962. And also, what we heard, that you, the Jain Council of Elders, when you started, you did not start as a Jain Council of Elders for all Jain. According to what I heard today from Aldo Ajou, that you started as the elders of Barakazal, or in particular, Will and Bahram. Is that right? Is that right? That's,
yeah. That was right. It was actually Barakazal. But Barakazal Council, regional of Barakazal, was all Barakazal. But this was not from us. And the strong man, Paul Malone, came in and held a meeting in our absence and declared himself the leader of
Isaac, can you control
can you control comment? And then when this time came, we crossed the border.
Yes.
And yes. We constituted ourselves by reclaiming elderly, because in our communities in Africa, elders, and with the age where we are and where we are now, is to defend anything for the country without permission. We use that one and we prevail. At work, of course, we were all together in the north. But Adok, a member of Sudan Communist Party, led by the same Arabs, that is what he wants. But I did not say. He's actually never been in a Nyanya one. He was actually from the school as a communist, known. And up to now, he's afraid of Mark. He cannot bow down in front of Mark now as we speak. So he's a man who can kick left and right, but I respect him. I respect him for that. With what you have said is a consolement. You have really consoled me, and you put the sequence of how things were in Khartoum, how things were in the SPLM, and you know, few of them who went to Ethiopia until Garang arrested them, they wanted to own the movement and turn it as a communist party, but they failed. Garang was looking ahead, by the way, on everywhere. He didn't really wanted to have that. And as Group knows, when he actually made a move out of nationality and imitating Switzerland out of nationality, Garang rejected it and said, what is that? And they avoided it. So he knows how much he has actually had in the SPLM, and until now he has resigned. He's not a member of SPLM, but he's a member of a Communist Party, which is already converted into Pan-Arabism. But I know Adok could actually fit into Pan-Africanism. I respect him, and he must avoid these things against people, because sometimes he can be very radical. And Michael, I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate all that you have said. But what I try to do is to tell the truth. Some people now, or people, they don't tell the truth, and that is our faith. This is going to damage our country because people are not telling the truth, and because they don't like truth. You see, that is why gossip and design things which are not true are actually are damaging stuff like, you see, there are a lot of things which are being put against people, and it's going on unless there's a law to stop this. We may not have the money to come up all the fields we have created now, and now our people have now gone to trouble, and poverty has controlled the whole country. Children are actually in the state as delinquent, not an orphan, or people are actually in tenant displaced, they are refugees inside the country, and we know there is a lot of about the COVID-19, which is very, very, very high in Juba, and that is why we are. And I hope that you are free the last thing.
Okay.
Thank you, Uncle Aldo. Maybe we need to make a short and briefing because the time now is up. Our doctor, Uncle, he spoke for more than 5 hours, and we don't need to make it really long. We have a speaker. What we need to tell our opposition brother and sister down here, we need two more women opposition from opposition side. If they don't, okay, no problem, because we don't need a complaint after Uncle Jolie left the floor. Okay. So I will have a question after these two gentlemen, and I think that will be the last two things to answer our South Sudanese fellow citizens. And I will ask you after these three gentlemen ask them questions. Thank you. Madid, you can take it from me and then go ahead.
Thank you, Comrade Allen. Yes, the three gentlemen will be the last. so we can give Uncle a break. So he's late over there. So, Kalaman, you are next 2 minutes to 3 minutes. Put in your question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, my dear. Thank you, Helen. Many thanks to Dr. Aldo. So thank you, Aldo, for coming out, to interact with us, here. Actually, I'm going to make it short. I don't have long because I'm schedule. Dr. Aldo, economical, we are totally depend on Upper Nile. Let me put it this manner. It's in good faith. It's not been bad faith actually. Our result, because all oil field is in Upper Nile, so they became like sources of our resource actually at moment. And at the same time, if you take a look at right side or left side, Upper Nile became like sources of our problems. I don't take it the wrong way. Don't understand the wrong way. And what I have to say that it's not that I want to generate the entire Upper Nile, but of course the elements in Upper Nile, I call them like problem makers, political. And on top of that, if you see most of the problem generated there, and they move or created, they move to neighbor states. For instance, they might take like from of Numble in terms of land occupied. Of course, those of brothers and sisters came from Goa, which located, in Upper Nile. My question is, what other communities have to do? Because we believe what we did in peace and harmony. What other communities supposed to do, to accommodate or to find solutions? Maybe political, rather than this together. If we have backup, maybe politicians from Upper Nile to come on the power, rather they can run, or we have to go to reach gospel of God for politicians from there, so that we can live in harmony and peace. That will rest my case here, and thank you.
Okay, you have put it on the national wealth, that is oil. And oil and other minerals under the ground are first national, but the share of Upper Nile is very clear. I think every district in Upper Nile has got 2% of the oil that is actually being produced in Upper Nile. They are not the same like Equatoria or Baragazal, because the rest of the wealth, you have said in Upper Nile, come to Juba, to the central government, and it stops there. It doesn't pay even the terrorists. So what wealth are you telling us here? The beneficiaries are, at least if they were correctly implemented, Upper Nile could be better off than Equatoria or Baragazal. And in Upper Nile, the troublemakers are Denka, the Nuer, and Luo. And these people are cousins. See, they are cousins, and we feel that they are troublemakers. Do you agree on that? Because this is my question now. Are you putting together Upper Nile? And we want Upper Nile to be peaceful, because the majority also in Baragazal are Denka and Luo. They relate to one another. So if you want to come up and speak like Equatoria, it may not be, because Equatoria is just like Scotland in Britain, and feel that out there we are not good, all of us. So whether you like it or not, we are tied together. Whether we fight now or make peace tomorrow and fight again, this is what we are. Traditionally, that is what the Nilotics are. And so, don't separate yourself from trouble. The government in Juba is not a government of Baringa. It is the president. President is from Baringa by virtue of his political party and his political commitment, SPLM, SPLA. And that is what actually brought him there. So don't despair. What we want to do now is to see that Upper Nile comes together, Equatoria comes together, Barakizal comes together, and we save the country and own it to all of us. No one has got a privilege or leverage to be the one actually dictating South Sudan in his or her own terms. No, we are all the same, and we are emerging to get together. Time we spend as a government is short, and we had very bad people, the Arabs, who actually did nothing in South Sudan. And when we came to South Sudan, we came empty-handed. We did not have the saving the Sudan did for over 50 years. We did not share it. We did not share the companies like Yazira. We did not share the Busta. And we don't even have one house for our embassy now in Khartoum. Is hiring, is renting. You can see how bad it is. This is all this we are talking about. Yani, sometimes people accuse us of being backward. We are not up to the standard of the world. We could not do this fighting. This fighting is senseless, as they call it, and is also irrelevant to what we want to have really in South Sudan. Was there a reason really to fight so that you come back to the same place and you fight for it to come back to the government? So, I hope I have answered you, that you are one of us, we are cousins, and if we want to be equal, we are both troublemakers, and we have to come to our senses and recognize that we have made some mistakes in 2013 to go back to Khartoum and get the same guns that kill us and use this gun against ourselves. It's a shame, and we must actually condemn it. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Aldo. Our next is Peg Gordon. Put in your question.
All right, okay. Thank you so much, Sister Helena and Madit, for giving me a chance. And also, congratulations, Uncle Aldo. I'm really pleased to see you. And congratulations for your PhD. Yeah, as someone has said earlier, you have given us a big inspiration. And it's always good. I appreciate the fact that you are engaging a lot of your people, talking to them even on this Clubhouse. Very few people know about Clubhouse. So well done. You are up to date with the social media. So and it's really good that you're engaging, because the image that has been drawn about Young Council of Elders. Some people now call it Young Council of Evil. Yeah, and it's like if you need one of Young Council of Elders members, as if you see them with a horn in their head, because like they're devils. but I know you're not devil, and I know it's important engage everybody. So the country is all out. Yeah. So now there are very clever politicians who are just creating all this image about the council people as a way of mobilizing a lot of people. And there are innocent people who do not really understand these issues. And that's why it's good when we engage people. A lot of people might be convinced. يعني في ناس هيقتنع بكلامك وهيفهم انه المشكله يعني ما مشكله بتاعكم يعني ده مشكله بتاع government. لكن في حاجه هنا يعني when you talk about phase 1 في ناس بيخلعوا بحاجه اسمه phase because بيجي في راسهم دوكمنت اللي قالوا بتاع ماستر بلان دوكمنت بتاع جيم بتاع ماستر بلان قال يعني the document that says 200 years of plan. And then in that master plan, they said there are stages. So the phase 1 is to make sure that all the people who are in big positions, responsible positions, they help from the young community, and so on and so forth. So whenever you say phase 1, we finish phase 1 immediately. Innocent people will immediately say, "Oh, that is you are referring to that master plan document." But I know you are not referring to master plan documents. You are talking about phase 1 was the war. The war now has stopped, and phase 2 is just the plan. So please, can you help us to explain? First of all, the master plan, is it really true? Is it Young Council of Elders? Did they have a master plan? 200 years master plan. Even the British Empire, they have 200 years master plan. And secondly, explain these phases. So for people, to reassure people that this phase is not about capturing people's land. It's not about capturing lands like beautiful lands like normally and changing all this into young places. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think the master plan is a copyright of racism. These people actually got a copy of racist land. How they actually got control America as the United States and other areas where the racists are still coming up, the populists. We never sat down to write a master plan. We had no time. And you know what I call phase 1 is the war that caught us in surprise. And after being caught in surprise, we were also lured in by the magnitude of revenge in both in Bentiu and in Malacca. And I say we are actually got induced into this war by practical realities. We had no plan for anybody. And you know, because they don't know the Denga properly, how sophisticated is the Denga to do a 200-year plan when they have no single industry. See, they cannot make even toilet paper and leave alone the 200 years plan. These people, they actually copy what happened somewhere and equate it with Denga. This is not, we are not even to the level of tribalism. We don't do it. See? And we are not that level, even the West are not that level. But because of fear of the unknown, I think some people in Equatoria who are doing these lives do not know us properly. And it may be our advantage, by the way, because they are afraid of something they don't know. A fear of crocodile from the Nile Page, which actual Nile Page itself confessed that it was not dangerous. See? And I think we actually live it like that. The first one I say is the war, a wrong war that came into our midst, and we never expected it. That is what I call phase 1. It is over by making agreement with the same people, the same people who went to war and who differed actually signed that agreement. And they decided to share the government. And we want to back this peace, not to go back to war, because it was a meaningless war. It did not advocate the rights of people. No single paper from any politician advocating the suffering of the people and how to deal with it. Mafia, they don't have. And I think this field needs people to talk to Equatorians that it is not there. And I think there are young Equatorians coming up, like the old ones, people like Joseph Udo, Agri Jaden, people who fought in the Nyanya one. They knew very well, and they were leaders. I don't know whether these Equatorians have got leaders really like before, but I have got few now who are appearing inside the country. Yani in Western Equatoria, Central Equatoria, and the East, by the way. There are young people and they are coming up. They are not the same like some guys who are sitting in Juba here, talking always about Denka, and they are not helpful even to what they can do here for their own people. So, this is my explanation. Very simple. The Denka have no sophistication of planning 200 years, and that is, of course, a lie. It is information, and it is made in such a way that the Kawaja will understand very quickly, because they are referring to documents that are racist, the whites. This is the difference. They know. If there is anybody that wrote that thing, I do not read it. It has to be thrown away. There's no ground, and if that person is not going to prevail, because we have no plan, even to ourselves, how Denka can survive. There's nothing. The poorest group of people now are not in Equatoria or Upper Nile, but in Bargazan. See, poverty has come there. And that is what I can say about this. Very clear that phase 2 is peace, and peace must be implemented by these parties. Even if they don't implement this peace and they want to go back to war, we take South Sudanese, please come together and ignore the next war, because it is bringing nothing to them. Instead, it is devastating. See, it is killing. It is creating the animosity of social inconvenience, and we don't need it. Don't need it to accept it. This time, they should not be followed. If they want to go back to war. That is what I have to say. But that plan is a part of this information. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Aldo. Comrade Allen, yeah, we need to Uncle. Yes.
I think we would agree not to bring more people in, because Uncle Tia Taban, mungkin naman reschedule time a different time. Actually, like the Modu issue with the command, there was a question, but we need to reschedule it. Lana Uncle Beta Taban, 5 hours to 6 hours, that is too much. For Nina, we don't. We need to finish with one and then close this topic. If we're willing to mushkila area, yes, I'll be mungkin. No doubt. Yeah.
No harm.
Thank you.
Okay, Comrade, welcome, Adol.
شكرا تمام. يمكن نقول يمشي كتاب وبعد كده أنا تفضل.
Thank you, moderators. I am very honored to have this opportunity to interact with Uncle Aldo Ajou. In fact, Uncle Ajou is one of the elders that has demonstrated something to the youth that they should look up to. That education has no age. You can still acquire and accomplish your dream of becoming someone in the society by committing the factory. And despite that, I do tend to disagree to some of the points that Uncle Ajou has said. I'll also pay him my respect on the ground that he was born before me and that he is in a little right that God has given him. He has more experience than me. And this means that the question I'm going to ask here does not mean that I know much more than him. But Uncle Ajou, I'll keep this under within 3 minutes, and I would beg that you bear with me and also the audience. I'm moderator. You said earlier in one of the questions that you answered that the future or the best interest of South Sudan lies in the hand of the SPLM. When we know the current war, looting, stealing, corruption, and the unity of the people of South Sudan is happening within the watch and under the condonment of the SPLM-led government, which are established extractive economic and political institutions to defraud and rob the citizens of South Sudan. And we know the members of the SPLM who are fighting the war now, those either you're defending the government or fighting to overthrow the government, they are all SPLM. Are you not saying this, Uncle Ajou, to defend the very group that you probably might be part of the beneficiary of it, given that you are a member of parliament at the upper level? Last. Second question. You say, Uncle Ajou, that the JCE has been accused of being part or running the government by proxy to the disadvantage of other citizens of South Sudan, an accusation which you denied, and I agree. And I was in the SPLM, in the part of the government before I resigned, in the SPLM and in the government. I have been skeptical that JC actually will it. But in your interview with the SBR radio with a young Junko, you said JC was formed to protect Jane after the war broke out. And when you look at the statement written by the interview of Luis and Anne-Marie Quintus, when the states were formed, claiming that it was their proposal, and I'm talking about SSB because I'm talking about the public information. And the the TV interview, South Sudan television, the reason I say that the states were formed because of the recommendation to the government. With this, among other things, including the things that you could say during the peace talks, the rejections that you made and the government of South Sudan followed through, have you not given the other solicitors reason to fear that Dinka is working on something, and by so doing, do you think this qualifies to being called that you betray the Dinka nationality? Well, that one. Last but not least, you need to clarify because I will just stop there. I will not go further. That's a question I can answer you personally. Thank you. I will stop there.
Thank you very much. What you have actually stated, general things that people can say about GN cancer. We were not formed before the war, and I said it. JCE formed itself after the war. The purpose was to answer the allegations that came out so fast, so much that the investigation of Obasanjo, name us even, and we were actually given, the names were given by even the young members, politicians, by singling us out, naming us that they used to do during the war in the SPLM, where everybody can be implicated and you can lose your life because people have lied and made it as true. We didn't like that one. And I have said that after we actually put ourselves together, we actually confront the rebellion straight, because they were lying and they were telling the world that these are the criminals, even in the UN Security Council, by name Denka in the Security Council. You see, and things that could not be condoned, and that's why we actually came in. And supposing if we were all quiet, it could be accepted by the whole world now that it is actually guilty is the Denka. And we could go to the books very easily to have practiced something that rhymes with the racism. But thank God we are right by proving that the war was not instigated by any community. The community later on joined, and the politicians made a mistake. That one, whatever history will tell, will get us that we were right. Our second right is, as citizens, is to defend the country. We were afraid that our independence could be derailed by Khartoum, because it is the same Khartoum that hosted the rebellion. And we are afraid, because we know Khartoum. That's what we were really afraid of. The other question about SPLM, I think SPLM, I say by principle and by ideology, that is lying within the books of SPLM, and the choice of SPLM, the alliance with the East at that time, the Soviet Union, I think they were right, because those in the region, like Ethiopia, Libya, Yemen, and others in Africa, all African liberation movement, stood with us, because it is the same trail that we went through, and that is an achievement. Another achievement, although I was not a fan of liberation of Sudan, New Sudan, at the first time Dan said it, we took it as a lie. But it became true when the SPLM, through John, traced our path into Egypt of the development of the Bible even writing, and that we were there. We have known it. It was not a mistake to see that we stood with our people there. Now, what I want to tell you is that the root, I take SPLM as a tree, the root of SPLM, it lies within a soft ground. Still, there is water, there is life, and so on. But you know, There are other trees which were actually are now 300 years old because of their roots. The root of SPLM, as it is ideologically, as something to be admired in Africa. That the SPLM actually came out to liberate Africans from domestic domination, neo-colonialism, and imperialism. That is a well done thing. It cannot be thrown away all. But the individual like you talking and myself and others, you see how they operated, how they started to govern, how the problem came up immediately before even 1 year. Those people, I think I had a cross with somebody in a conversation, which actually one of the people who was involved in the war, calling the SPLM as a dead tree, and dead roots and branches. I answered him. I said, you are wrong, because you represent the branches of the tree. It is you branches who are dead, but the root of the movement and liberation of Africa is alive. Alive, and then the dead branches, like you, will be cut off. And when they are cut off, that tree will survive again and revive and will be alive. Because of what? Today, what I know, you are very eloquent, you talk well, you know where you are going. But let me tell you, and with other parties now, they stand up for the people and the advocacy of the rights of the people, the life of people, and the fact that the freedom and freedom and social life, services, and all that economy, it starts with one person. You know, you are in the United States. One human is the factor of the law. It's not there. These people kept in the government for over 6 years. They never thought of making a law. They took even constitution where I was a member of the commission. They took everything from Khartoum at random like that, including the states. This time the state they talk about was not their making. It was a copyright from Khartoum. And you know, the constitution had and the laws of Khartoum changed from Sudan Penal Code to laws which were made by Islamic and the Arabs. And we took them like that. Today, for example, in the Ministry of Justice, to Okilniaba took all the responsibility of the police and the judges, the doing the judgment, and that was created by Turabi in order to actually kill the market and replace them by actually getting the Islamists into business. And we are doing it here. So these are actually areas which we took away without knowledge. And we went away without asking anything. And we came, we did not care to set the rule of law in order to govern the country. And law must begin from there. And you know, people emerging from war anywhere, if they are not controlled, they can be a different class altogether. And this is our fate. If we were to begin at day one, and go in really, giving our people the rule of law and try to govern them by law. People will have been used to it now. But people now got used to this way. And all the crimes are doubling up and they are accumulating. How we come out of this? And you know, you are here. And if you go home now, then you will stand still, because what they are telling you is not the way you know. People have changed. And it is we who have done this, all of us, whether we are against the government or for the government. And this is what I want you, and your knowledge should not be wasted like this. Let us advocate the way things can improve and people come home. Because we are losing very intelligent young people, by the way. And young people are giving up hope. The thing that there is nothing that lies with their own people, and this is a very, very dangerous. See? Very dangerous for us. So, if we are there people who can support us, we bring them to our fold so that we give them how they can support us. See, I agree with you to say that SPLM so and so and so. But the substitute is not known. For those who are talking, they are talking fire. And they cannot be a substitute to SPLM. They cannot govern, by the way, because governing their own organization is a myth, according to them. They don't know how to control even their own parties and their members. Can SPLM that surrender to people who do not know how to run a country? It is better we get the reforms and actually build up democracy, liberties, and the rule of law. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. One, you can go ahead. No, we're about to close down.
Right. أنا في المستقبل I'm interested in a
Yes, Uncle. Yeah, this is the next agenda. We'll give him a chance. We'll give a BA time to people to be specifically only for BA issues, because this is the one. Yeah, this is the one of the things come up in these days. Anyway, we don't need to fight about a BA issue, because we don't need the whole world anymore.
نديو يوم لانه ابيعي مش مرحله اخيره.
اوكي.
نحن بنسال على المرحله دي. المرحله دي يعني شنو يعني؟ قضيه مش كثير.
Okay, بنطلب كمان Uncle Dictor, Uncle to find us two more people from ABA, from other region, عشان يجي يتكلموا معانا يورونا exactly لأنه موضوع بتاع ABA ده خطوه في راس أسلم ده
لو لقينا زول في مكوين له هذا government spokesman عشان نعرف شنو الجيش.
I will find him and I will contact him.
لو جبته يكون كويس. بعدين كيف لوكا بيوم نتكلم أول عشان نعمل قضية كويس يعني.
Good. Thank you.
لوكا بيوم يعني نتكلم أول وبعدين we give him support. لأنه he's not against anything. Nobody is against the government because of BI. We say that why do people give away by just referendum, freedom, for BI to say yes for Khartoum or no for and no for Juba? Yes for Juba, no for Khartoum. Late? Absolutely.
Thank you. Go ahead, one.
Yes, to the audience, I would like to apologize for coming back again. Part of the reason actually has something to do with one of my friends from VA. After he learned that we were in Clubhouse with Uncle Aldo, he had a question that he wanted to ask, but he wouldn't be part of it because he's at work. So he delegated me to ask this question anyway on his behalf. And the question was, does the Gen Council of Elders recognize the VI people voting in 2013? That's the question he sent to me in my phone. Second to that, Dr. Aldo, in the last presentation you had with us, by the way, after you speak with us and you go, your speech create a lot of topics to be discussed. Okay. And I happened to be in one of the rooms, and within that room, there was a heavy discussion, a very topic discussion about what you did back in the days when you were interviewed in the SBS Dinka Radio by Justin Temple, in which you made a remark saying that you are up to protect the Jim interest. So the question was asked in that room as to exactly what is the Jim interest. I would like you to take this moment here to explain to us exactly what the Jim interest is. Not that I do not know what it is, but to the doubting pharmacist, it would be a very good idea if you really tell us what the Jim interest is that you are protecting. The last one here is just an information. And this information here is with regard to the fear mongering and the negative, false, rather foolish propaganda that's being generated in order to create hatred among the people of South Sudan with regard to so-called the Gen Master Plan. That article actually was published in the Wikipedia on September 13, 2015 by somebody that called himself Samson Matia. When I took that article, I read it and I read it through anti-plagiarism app. It confirmed that by 97.17%, similar to a KK master plan chapter in Wisconsin. In this country, you cannot even just. And what they did is actually they copied that master plan that Ku Klux Klan or the KKK, and then they downloaded it in Adobe, a software where you can actually edit a PDF. And the words were carved out, and then they put in the Gen Council of Elders in order to protect their agenda. But, I want to let our people know that we can't be so desperate to lie in order to protect our people.
Go ahead. Hello.
I think he has a bad network or internet.
Okay.
Okay. What?
I think you guys you said before you are coming to conclusion.
If you want to answer them now, will be okay. But I feel like now you're getting tired.
Yeah.
Now, the first question, Talan, is a part of the campaign, and I think during the heat, Logulta and defending the interest of Jian community. I call it Jian nationality because we are nationalities that compose South Sudan. And if we are singled out to be destroying others, that is the basis of my interest because we have not done it. And it is not the interest of the Jian to destroy others. But we actually feel some indication of people planning to destroy us. And that is the interest of Denka to be or not to be. No one can deny that. And some people now in Equatoria are saying it, the interest of Equatoria and the interest of 64 tribes. It is just something applied to even the country, the national interest and the interest of people given. So that one, I feel if I said it, then I must be right at the heat of the literature that was generated and was circulated against Monjang. And when you read it like what you have said, the copyright of tragedy of people, which I said before, you can see people reacting by the way. So the emotion of a person on a given issue can say, and I have to say, at the climax of the conflict and the intent of propaganda, I might have said it. And I can say, by the way, if things move wrongly and as something intended against my community, I can speak. No one can stop me in this thing. So I want to explain that I had no intention against any group or encouraging a state to destroy a group of people in South Sudanese. No. I say we need to get ourselves together in order to have one country. And I cannot deny that. And I think my answer is straight. And my conclusion is that all that literature, most of the literature was cooked and framed, and most of it, of course, they figured out to deal with Denka. They have not shown us. They cannot expose that. But one day we shall find it. Of course, written. This is what I can say about again. The question about referendum, I think that man who has the question is right. We were party to support the referendum of the before the time came to call ourselves JC. We were just normal politicians and Denka. And when Abia took referendum, many people went from Upper Nile, from Bargazal to watch. It was a very free exercise. And the government released the civil servants and even in the army to go to Abia. And some came all the way from abroad and from Khartoum, go to Abia. And the referendum was very clear, open. It was not cooked by people of Abia and so on. And I can say the two governments, our government and Bashir's government, has a lot to blame, especially in the state of resolving the problem. They brought in the UN as peacekeeping of Abia. Peacekeeping for who? And for Bashir, in order to do what? To behave like Western Sahara with Morocco, so that they are feeling that one day the Arabs will feel Abia and they will vote majority for Abia to remain in Khartoum, which is not happening. They are trying their best. My message now is that the problem of Abia is identically fought, and the literature of Abia and solution shows it the process is very regular, very clean, and even the borders much more better than South Sudan borders with Khartoum have been decided. And the only thing is for the two governments to allow Abiy to exercise, if they don't approve of what referendum which Abiy actually exercised, the same can be repeated if they want. But why hold it back now? I have seen now people are trying to negotiate with Khartoum, you see, and even Deng Alo is being led by wrong people going to Khartoum with the problem of representing the government. Those are not the right people. A person like Aldo Ajou should have led it to Khartoum, by the way, not somebody you know who led it. And somebody from Khartoum will choose them to lead even Deng Alo. And you know Deng can handle it. He has been handling it. And there is no reason why they are being led people of Abiy into the talking place. They should be the one to lead it there. Right? There's nothing. Lakin, let us double the effort to see that the two governments, Khartoum and Juba, come to terms with the referendum so that Abiy actually comes fully to the south. Although you know that Abiy is, you know it very well, he's with us. Wherever we are, Abiy is with us. He cannot be separated from us. This is what I say, and I want to call upon you to make Abiy a subject of its own, and we extend the membership for people of Abiy even to years to get their telephones connected, and we bring Dr. Luca Bion, because he's very shrewd in actually talking about problem of Abiy, by the way. He has recently an article that I appreciate so much for Luca. And Luca was almost giving up. He felt sad. I saw his face very, very much sad. He was like we have actually are not backing Abiy, and was in despair. We don't want that.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Thank you. I think you highlight some of their issue right now. As a daughter of South Sudan, I was thinking all of South Sudanese fellow citizens, brothers and sisters, to think about the gay issue is all about our problem, all of us to handle this or to follow up with North Sudan, because the gay issue is from all of us. I think we need to get interfere, all of us, as a gay citizen are our citizens, and now belong to North. We was North, all of us, together with South and West and East. But when we get out we broke out from North Sudan, there is self-interest between them. They really need Abiy to be in their side. But Abiy is South Sudan land, is our people, is our belong to us as a citizen of South Sudan. We'll never leave them alone. We will fight with Arab. Our thinking this is the second fight by us to Arab again. If they don't want to let Abiy, leave them alone to North side. So thank you.
Now what I want to add, what I want to add is this.
Go ahead.
The government must take decision. Either recognize the referendum that was done by Abiy, or call for a new referendum. Government of South Sudan, before we go to Khartoum.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle.
Comrade Dow, you can go ahead. Yeah. You have a question? Madid, you can come, and the last we will let our uncle take a rest, and then we will reschedule the issue of Abiy for next time. I think they need 2 more people and enough time to discuss this.
Yeah, but I want to add something in that if we schedule API issues, I suggest that Sister Carl will be among of those people of API to join that show the next when we arrange it. Thank you. Go ahead now.
شكرا دكتور وشكرا لكاميرا مجد وكاميرا هيلين وشكر موصول برضو للمستمعين. دكتور انت مشكور لانه انت اخذت زمنك قعدت معنا وقدرت تجاوب على الاسئله المطروحه بالنسبه لك. طبعا في اسئله كثير قاعد تطرح علينا وفي خلط في الصحه، فعشان كده برضو وجودك مهم عشان برضو تجي تفسر بعض النقاط بتاعت الاختلاف وتوضح النقاط الأساسية. لذلك أنت مشكور شديد، مشكور كثير يعني. فالحاجة اللي فيه بس سؤال واحد لكن في شبه مركبة، لأنه دي دائما الأسئلة بتكون متداولة، فوجودك برضو كويس. دكتور كمنظومة بتاعت جين كانسل اللي انت عضو فوقه، السؤال بيطرح نفسه. العلاقة بتاعت المنظومة بتاعت جين كانسل مع المنظومة بتاعت الحركة الشعبية كجسم سياسي، علاقتهم شنو؟ هل في علاقة بينهم؟ علما انه الحركة الشعبية جسم سياسي، علاقة الرابطة بيناتهم قاعد يكون في شكل بتاع الطبيعة الممثلين انتم ولا كجسم. الحاجة الثانية حل المنظومة بتاعت الجين كانسر هي منظومة سياسية ولا منظومة اجتماعية؟ فدي برضو يمكن تدينا تفسير عميق فوق عشان احنا برضو نقدر نعرف الفرق بيناتهم. فده الحاجة اللي بيكون موجود واحنا عايزين نفهمه فوق. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا. نحن طبعا بأي تنظيم شعبي كنا يعني في SPLM في البرلمان قبل تكوين الجي، يعني كنا من الناس في انتخاب بتاع 2010، يعني مشينا خرطوم ومن خرطوم we were all Malak and became a parliament of Juba together with those who were in Juba. في النهاية ده كنا في SPLM قبل جي، وزي جي مرق من نزاع النزاع السياسي اللي حصل 2013 جرانا في السياسة، وليه نحن علنا ourselves as a political group، يعني ما community بتاع دينكا، نحن ما ولا في كلام واحد كتبناه عن دينكا في معظم دينكا، whether this is something we can do at home as a development or في تعليم or في أي حاجة في promotion بتاعنا معه. القصة بتاعنا we came up in the heat of these differences and we reacted against الكلام بتاع politicians squaring all the Dinka completely, not only JC as you are saying it, condemning the whole community.
without even reference to communities who have got groups that also speak. يعني we got singled out بطريقة عجيبة. والناس who singled us out are members. أنا معهم. أنا في Liberation Council by the way. And I came the same way they came to Liberation Council. I'm telling you, our move was political. And all our literature is political. Against what? Against the rebellion and terming the Denka as the cause of war. And terming the Denka has converted the government of SPLM to Denka government. And that the Denka are the key advisors to Salva Kiir. And so on. And they forgot that they were with Salva Kiir and others also who remained there. They were together and they never saw us in their meeting. But they condemn us like that. So it was a political reaction. It is not a community organization. We reacted and we all that, and that's why I said it should end up with the agreement. And we take the second round where everybody is now in the government, and we see that this agreement in which we were a part of this be implemented correctly. That is all. So we were actually politicized and brought to politics by the verdicts of Nelu Darin Yakumuna, we wait for landing. Can you believe that? Somebody is being hit and is expected to sit cross-handed to wait for his death or death. Is that allowed by human reaction? That is, it is not the Denka community as such. It is we who have selected ourselves to speak on their behalf in politics of war and peace. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Victor, thank you Uncle. نحن مشكورين جدا وشعب الجنوب مشكور جدا. بنات وأولاد بتاع الجنوب كلهم مشكورين. لينا كده هنخلوك يا أنكل عشان تمشي. I hope يعني أخواننا ديل يفهم our brothers position. يفهم أنت قلت أي حاجة. أنا نحن بنفهم أو في بتاعك ممكن يجي ويبسط نفسه للعيال الصغار عشان يجي يفهمهم what going on. يعني من المنطق they stuff عندنا difficulties for أهلنا حتى عمنا ذاته عشان تضرب له وتتكلم بالموضوع بتاع الجنوب بيقفل لك تليفون توالي. فنحن بنشكر شديد يا أنكل، ربنا يكون معك ويحفظك ويحفظ باقي أهلنا التانيين كمان. يعني يجوا حتى أنكل في a different tribe. إحنا من العقيم they are all uncle. أنا هلا I believe any region and في South Sudan is my uncle, my sister, my auntie. نحن دايرين peace، دايرين الحوار ده يجي حوار بتاع شكله يجي. إذا كان نحن بنحترم الأبوين بيقول انت ما ربنا بيقول احترام الابوين يهود بديك شنو blessing. يعني نحن البلاسينج ان شاء الله نحن ناخده منكم باستماع بتاعكم. حتى لو قلت غلط وانت قلت لي يا جنا اسكت وانا ما بتمشي قدام، لان انت انسان شفت الارض قبلي وانت الفاهم اكثر مني و I have to follow you, I have to listen to you. وعشان احترام ده يحتاج من زول كبير للصغير، والكبير يحترم الكبير والكبير يحترم الصغير والصغير يحترم الكبير. That what حسن احنا شايفين. انت احترامك شديد لشعب الجنوب وللشعبين السودان والجنوب. هنا بنعتبروك انت you are our hero. ربنا يحفظك. وان شاء الله موضوع أبيض يخصنا كلنا. انا هنا الموضوع دي بنشوفه ده خدناه في دكتور قلت كلمه كويس جدا عجبني بين شنو المشى جاب اليو ان الجدة في اليو ان ده ذاته ياخذ برجل ابي ما يمشي ريفرندم ونحن احترمنا القانون ده عشان قانون ده لو نحن ما احترمناه ونحن لسه ماشيين مع ذلك هيجوا يقولوا لنا كان حاجه حصل غلط بعدين هيقولوا انتوا شعب الجنوب ما كان سميتوا فنحن هسي we are watching عشان المواضيع دي تنتهي كله وبعدين نحن نشوف الموضوع دي كله هو اخر حاجه مش عشان نحن نسيناه كشعب الجنوب او كشعب او رئيس بيلام بارتي يعني الحمد لله بقى في بارتيز كتير وان شاء الله الموضوع ما هيقلبنا كلنا اذا كان نحن شعب نحب بلدنا كلنا نحب اهلنا ابي ماتوا وساهموا في الارض بالفرق وهم وعندهم صبر في صبر كتير ممكن ندين ناس ابي صبروا ولسه قاعدين يحكوا باي الجنوب ولا ما في الجنوب ولا في الشمال هم في نص مفروض يعني الناس ما يضغط عليه ولا يقتلوه لكن هسه قاعدين بيتكتلوا متضررين في بيناتنا في نصنا والشكوى ما بيجي براوي ممكن يعمل شكوى انا كنت بشوف الجنوبيين كلهم هو 64 ترايب يشكي كله بموضوع بيجي لانه الارض بتاعنا دي اهلنا لا جزء لا يتجزا مننا فانا بشوف يكون موضوع انت براجي انكل انا بشوف شعب الجنوب كلهم دايرين بيس كافينا دايرين وحده نحن لازم تكون الموضوع دي يكون اخر اللي نحن نجي في البيس بتاعنا واليونيتي ويكونوا قاعدين يحتفلوا معنا next year 2020 يكون ابي دي استغل خلاص يكون يا معنا يا في الشمال لكن هنا ما حنكون في الشمال طالما نحن لسه قاعدين بنمشي خطوه خطوه ده الشيء اللي انا كنت فاهمه لعشان كده all this year انا ما كان اتكلم عن الموضوع ده لانه انت بتستمع وانت تطبق وتشوف القانون اللي خطه شنو في قانون في بنود خطه بموضوع بيعي نحن كلنا عارفين هم لما ما مشوا رفضنا كلنا it was a choice والchoice ده هم قبلوا وقلنا اوكي let us step back هنشوف كان هم نجحوا نحن شعب الجنوب هنخشوا وما نبدا كان بكلام ولا كان بضرب فشكرا يا انكل اخذ وانا بديك تهية كثيرة جدا ربنا يحفظك لنا ويحفظ شعب الجنوب ويحفظنا هنا كلنا برا هنا وان شاء الله هنا نشوف الجنوب ده كلنا اذا كان هنا نهب جنوب حقنا ده ما يعني ما نخرب الجنوب بلساننا نحن كان هنا قاعدين في دول برا المفروض هنا نفيدوا كثير باخبار المعلومات كويسه ونكونوا شنو نحن البضاع بتاعتنا نحن فشكرا انكم
والله انا ما باقي الا اشكركم وبعدين يعني نشوف انه توسع الكلام بينكم لانه you are right. Our people here are not discussing together. انتوا نحن الكبار بنشوف المعاناه الانتشاريه دي يعني مؤلم جدا جدا. نحن بنقول انه نحن ماشيين ونخلي الريال بذيك شيب ده اللي بيخلينا نتكلم ليه صباح because فانتوا توزعوا الشيرنج ده because اي كلام في الاخر بيجيب بيجمع الناس بدون كلام ناس ما بيعرفوا بعض بيشاكلوا في حاجه ما معروف لانه ما بيتكلموا لانه ودين كتب قال اللي ما بيكلموه يا هو بدور الناس خليت كلامك تتكلم فيه فانا سعيد جدا I'm happy to be with you واشكركم and we feel let us actually get ourselves together and together we can actually make difference. شكرا لكم.
Thank you.
شكرا.
It's your boy Ajou in that thing.
Pancholeg stand Panchir America Banyi Dwal Banaban Pancholeg stand Panchir America Banyi Dwal Banaban Wokojile Kankaro Watana Wachin Oga Level Juir Kwa Ugaray Lake Panda Wadiaye Panchir America Panye Dwal Bano Chingitongo Pandon Kujuera Baya Cheka Paku Panda Juir Wadiabi Dwal Panchir America, Banyi Dwal, Banaban Pancholeg stand.